Kid connection with Kid Minter. Junior has been invited to the National Youth Leadership.
Hello and welcome to Lockwood Stadium, home of the Lockwood Lions. But today, this beautiful place will play host to two of the best football teams in Eastern A, Billings Central and the Miles City Cowboys. Both teams undefeated, both teams looking to clinch that #1 seed in Eastern Class A. It's going to be a fun matchup featuring two of the best quarterbacks in the entire state. Let's start with Billings Central and #2, Marcus Whitman. Whitman, perhaps the most underrated quarterback in Eastern A this season, and he is an athlete who just does it all for the Rams. 610 yards through the air, another 109 rushing, 7 rushing touchdowns. He's good for 180 yards per game total for his Rams, and he leads the way along with those 4 running backs. And the Rams off to a great start, already beating Laurel, and tonight they look to knock off unbeaten Miles City. As for those Cowboys, the reason Whitman's underrated, well, perhaps the best quarterback in Eastern A football history plays in the blue and gold, Carson Hunter. Hunter with a 69% completion percentage this season. He holds almost every record in Eastern A football history, and this year he's 77 for 112, nearly 1,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, and he's also their leading rusher with 7 touchdowns on the ground. So we got two of the best quarterbacks, two of the best teams in all of Class A. It's going to be a fun one, and I tell you what, you have the best seat in the house, because as you can see, the rain is coming down, and we have kickoff for you next on SWX.
Gosh, I hope he doesn't play. Introduced me this week. I didn't get introduced last week.
That's sad.
They think I'm Bruce.
Moments away from kickoff between Miles City and Billings Central. Spencer Martin joined me today. Bob Beers in the booth, and this should be a really fun one today, Bob.
2-3 in the state in Class A football. We've got a great game. Got a beautiful new stadium here in Billings. Boy, this thing couldn't ask for a better Friday night event.
Certainly indeed. 2 undefeated teams in Class A, 2nd and 3rd ranked in all of Class A behind Hamilton. They're 7-0. And they're battling for that top spot in the East. At Lockwood Stadium, if you don't know, Rocky Mountain College wouldn't allow Billings Central to play this season over at Herb Quint Field due to COVID-19, so their home this season is Lockwood. Miles City on the kickoff. Demjanovic and Michael Hayden to return.
2 versus 3, folks. Be a great game tonight.
Cowboys kick it short. Damjanovic for the return. Takes up field. He'll be taken down around the 32-yard line. So Marcus Whitman brings that Rams offense out. Try to get things started. Whitman, a great athlete at quarterback, kind of dual threat. And known, I'd say, is underrated because he's going against Carson Hunter in this one.
Well, he's a second-year starter for these Rams. And I think you hit it right on the head there. He is very underrated. Great athlete in the backfield. Great with the ball in his hands. And, he's shown a tremendous amount of growth from this year compared to last.
Rams like to run the ball a lot with 4 different running backs, and then Whitman himself with 48 carries on the year. And here they get started in a rainy one tonight. The handoff is to Brock Ping, and he's quickly taken down by the Cowboys.
Yeah, Ping just straight ahead. He had Damjanovic pick up that ball, just go straight ahead, and another north-south play by these Billings Central Rams. Coach Stanton's really comfortable in the rain. He's just as soon hand it off 100 times if he could.
Well, Ping transferred to Billings Central from senior high over the summer, and coming off a big week where he had 15 carries, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns versus Fergus. Whitman this time back in the gun. And again, hands it off down the middle. Ping again quickly taken down.
Well, he may have transferred, and it takes a little bit of time to pick up any new offense, and Coach Stanton has to get comfortable with him and his staff. Boy, starting off the game tonight, they've got a bit of a multi-headed monster in the backfield. Looks like Coach Stanton has come and been accustomed or grown accustomed to Brock Ping, showing some confidence starting the young man tonight.
You'll see Brock Ping, you'll see Damjanovic back there a little bit, always moving their backs around, but here facing 3rd and long against the Cowboys. Whitman going to go through the air, looking across, and he's got it. That's Clay Oven on the catch, but we have a flag in the backfield. See what the call is.
Holding offense, number 50.
Be holding on the Rams. That'll push them back another 10 yards, facing 3rd and 20.
One of the things they do as an adjustment at Central, you just may have noticed, is they move 77 big Jaquan Booth, a 4-year starter for him on defense. They move that man from a strong guard position out to tackle to protect the blind side. Easy for me to say early, folks. Blind side of Marcus Whitman there in the backfield. Here he's lined up at guard for him.
3rd and 20 for the Rams on their own 18. Whitman going to go out quickly to junior Brackenridge. He's got Booth in front of him trying to make something happen, but he's taken down at the 25. Jaquan Booth there, already calling him a lot for an offensive lineman, a 4-year starter for the Rams, and as you said, moving him around a lot early.
Hard not to notice somebody that big on the field. See him out there on the screen out there to Brackenridge. Gives this Rams special teams unit a little bit more breathing room to punt the ball away to a very high-powered and explosive Miles City offense.
Indeed, early stop for the Cowboys. Lead Holt back there for Miles City. Short punt from Whitman. It's going to get a nice friendly roll. Miles City is going to try to return. Damian Leadholt taken down at the 45-yard line.
Jaden Venable sitting there making everybody get away from it. And Leadholt says, the heck with that. I'm going to get what I can with it. Shows a little gumption right there, picking up the ball, getting what he can. Sets this Miles City offense up with good field position. 1st and 10 on the 46.
And as you said, they are a high-powered offense. 44 points per game so far. Most of that thanks to that man back there, Carson Hunter, perhaps maybe the best quarterback in Eastern A football history.
Well, the numbers would say you're correct there. He does a great job for this Miles City offense.
They go to the ground early, and again, Rams this time taking him down. Booth on the tackle.
Yeah, just a little wide receiver right motions into the backfield. Venable with the handoff right there. Not allowed much in the middle. That's really the strength of this Rams defense, is that, number 77 right there. I mean, there's not a lot of height there, but there's a lot of mass, and he's a hard person to move.
Miles City, of course, the defending state champions. They took down the Laurel Locomotives 35-7 a year ago, led by head coach Jeff Regan. Hunter back in the gun with the 2 backs. Sends Wicker out in motion. He rolls to the left. And he's got his man right on the sideline, still working it up to the 40 is Jaden Venable.
Hunter does a great job. This is one of those things where I've seen a lot of quarterbacks, and this kid can, he plays pitch and catch about as well as I've seen at this level. The Hunter, he's got great accuracy. He can roll to either side. And you saw right there, you know, whether he had pressure or not, rolls out to his left, and that's a harder ball to throw than you think, moving away from your strong hand. And Venable there with a nice catch and run afterwards.
Oh, Aaron snap, it's rolling, and the Rams got it. Hunter didn't see it coming, and an early takeaway for Billings Central as Demjanovic pounces on it.
Yeah, Demjanovic right there as the ball was snapped right into the knees of Hunter. He's sitting there calling cadence, and the next thing you know, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, Demjanovic hustling back out there. But you see this, he's making some adjustments, not even looking at it. Oh, and you hate to see that. Unforced error by Miles City gives Billings Central great field position there.
Very friendly roll right to Demjanovic, and this time Whitman, a rare time he's under center. And again, hands it off to Ping, gets out away from the backfield, cuts it upfield, and rolls in, still on his feet. Just short, maybe a first down on the 48-yard line.
Now, Ping's got he's got a little bit of burst there. You see him breaking some tackles, but that's a downhill run right off the edge, breaks a tackle right at the end of the line of scrimmage. And then he's got great pad level to go along with that power underneath. And he's spinning and twisting for a couple extra yards. Breaks his tackle right there. Great job. That's his guy. Gets downfield, spins out of another tackle, keeps going. Oh, got to blow the whistle right there. Knees down. Got to like the effort right there.
I've seen a few crazy plays so far this year where knees down haven't been called. But here's Whitman going down again to Payne, getting downhill, shift, and looks like still short of a first though.
Going to be close. There's a lot of action up front tonight. Now we talked about Jaquan Booth and his size. That's not necessarily all the way across the line at Billings Central. They got a couple of guys that are not necessarily in that weight class. And Miles City though, now they've got a little bit of depth and a little bit more size consistently across the board. It'll be an interesting matchup as this night goes on.
Here's third and short for Billings Central. They got their two backs in the backfield. And Whitman on the hard count got the Cowboys to jump. That'll be good for a first down.
A little bit of discipline right there with Billings Central. Marcus Whitman, that senior quarterback, shows that he's a senior quarterback, knows what to do, a little hard count there. I'll tell you what, that's a great move for this team moving forward. Builds a little confidence in something that they can go to and then dictate to the defense what they're going to do to them.
Whitman also the point guard for the Billings Central basketball team, so kind of leader and decision maker for all year long.
Let's get through
Rams.
a football season before we start anticipating a basketball season right now.
That's fine with me.
Part of the false start offense.
And we're going to go back 5 yards on a false start this time for the Rams.
Well, number 77 gets his name called there on the field rather than just in the booth.
Something I've seen early, Bobby, is Damian Leadholt for the Miles City Cowboys. DB, we've seen him a lot in the backfield early. Seems like they're really filling that box knowing that the Rams want to run.
Well, that's kind of what they want. That's been the calling card of Billings Central since Jim Stanton, has started, his successful tenure there. They want to run the ball. They can pass now with Whitman, but it doesn't mean they want to do it consistently.
Whitman looking to run on the quarterback design. Got in a little trouble as his option, Demjanovic, got ahead of him, and it's a big loss of 6.
Alex Donnelly does a great job right there. Now, if you're an option quarterback and you're going to run speed option, run downhill. Don't string it out. You shorten the field. You allow the defense to get lateral on you. And right there you saw Alex Donnelly, 6'2", 200-pound offensive defensive lineman for Custer County or Miles City. Does a great job of stringing that out for little to no gain and actually a little bit of a lost yardage right there for Central.
So all of a sudden, after getting that first down on the offside, Central facing 2nd and 22. And not a position they like to be in running the ball. And you may be able to tell the rain is coming down a lot tonight, perhaps snow tomorrow, but we'll see if that'll be a factor throughout this one. As Whitman drops back to pass. Looking across the middle, he's got a man. Now set up 3rd and 10 as Junior Brackenridge's favorite target brings it down.
Yeah, Junior runs a little in route, does a great job right there, going up to get the ball, climbs the ladder. Has good protection right here. You see Whitman sitting right there in the pocket, a little bit of pressure at the end. Brackenridge climbs the ladder, goes up, gets it, gets back to the original line of scrimmage, brings up 3rd and manageable for Central.
Brackenridge been good for 93 yards receiving per game so far this season. And about 15 yards per catch is junior Brackenridge. So 3rd and 9 for the Rams on the 40. Whitman again looking to pass. Throws it up for Brackenridge. Brackenridge switching to defense there a little bit, and out comes the flag, probably on junior.
Well, this is going to be an interesting call right here. Not exactly sure what went on right there. I do know that Marcus Whitman had good protection back there, and they did move Jaquan out to the edge there.
So we wait the call.
Pass interference. Offense.
And it is pass interference on junior Brackenridge, switching to DB there on that throw.
Now, good call, Spencer, right here. You see the pressure right there at the end, and not exactly, going to go fair catch that ball if you're a DB. Number 23 back there, Danny Anderson for Custer County, in good position to field that one. Unfortunately, he gets a crossbody block and moves Central back with 3rd and a bus ride.
Yeah, all
for
of
the
a sudden
Rams.
now on their own 43.
This is back where the drive started.
Yeah, the drive started on that snap that Carson Hunter wasn't expecting. They have to get down to the 32-yard line for a first down. Whitman just going to come on the quarterback draw, breaks a couple tackles, runs into Booth, and that'll be good to take him down himself.
Mr. Booth was sitting there at the 49-yard line. He's a guy that you want to avoid, and right there it was hard to, as Marcus Whitman ran smack dab into his offensive lineman there and brings up 4th down. They're just going to punt it away, and you'll notice who's punting. We talk about the importance that Carson Hunter is to the offensive side there. Marcus Whitman punts for this team. He plays quarterback, and he's going to line up and start a corner tonight for them.
Average 40 yards a punt for Whitman.
Great kick.
Right down to the 6-yard line. Miles City's still alive on the return. Finishing it off with a strong run there is Jaden Venable.
And Venable fielded that ball inside the 10 and then took it back out. Tremendous job by that young man. He knows the rules on this new turf. The new turf rules, you throw out to put your heels on the 10 rule that you had with grass. Balls don't bounce the same on fake grass. So he fielded that great, nice hand-eye coordination, fields that clean and gets upfield. Better field position than they would have had if he'd have had to let it go.
So both of these offenses having their drives stalled out so far. Billings Central averaging 34 a game, Miles City averaging 44 a game, but probably the best competition they've seen all year tonight is Carson Hunter on the designed run. He's still alive down to about the 35-yard line, and he's their leading rusher as well for the Cowboys.
He did the little quarterback draw that they do. They'll do it also with a lead blocker. They'll run lead zone with the quarterback. He's got a nice little jump cut, not overly fast. That's not where his money's made, but he's quick enough that he's dangerous out of the backfield. He's done a great job, great ability to run the ball. They don't have the smash mouth guys they had last year when they won the state championship. They got to do it a little bit different, but Carson Hunter doing a great job right there running the ball for Miles City.
Here's Hunter again on the designed run, finding the hole, shifting down to the 47-yard line. There it was again, and as you mentioned, Cowboys lost 4 seniors, but maybe a fumble at the end of the run.
Yeah, it looked like he put the ball on the ground. They're going to call it.
It's Rams
Central ball, so 2 drives for Miles City, 2 turnovers, and they're going to blame them both on the stat sheet on Carson Hunter right there. You'll see a little quarterback power here. Great, they seal on the backside there. He gets upfield, but he doesn't finish the run with the ball in his hands.
And fumble recovery, number 2 for Demjanovic. Just a magnet for the ball so far tonight.
Well, where 44 is at in the middle of the field, he's going to have to be around the ball all night. You'll see it right here. Gets sealed, he gets upfield right there at the end. Great play. I think
Demjanovic punched it out there.
I believe you're correct.
So here's Whitman on the pitch
recovery.
out to Ping, trying to find an edge. He does that inside on the 38-yard line.
Ping shows a little bit of that speed on the toss play, gets it outside and downhill. Good gain. It's going to be close to a first down. They're going to give it to him. First down, Central. Ping gets the edge right there and then does a good little job setting people up downfield and finishes it. First down, Central.
This is the 3rd time the Rams have had the ball in this first quarter. 2 of them off fumble recoveries. We'll see if they can take advantage as Whitman lines up under center on his 38-yard line. Directs out to Ping, shoots up the middle, still alive, down to the 22. Shot out of a cannon.
Quick hitter trap play right there. We got a Miles City or Custer County Cowboy down there. Oh. Little quick trap. We see right there, comes down right downhill, 2 hands on the ball. Runs right into Brendan Hager right there, and Brendan took the worst of that encounter right there. Brock Ping used a little bit of leverage and finished that run for another first down.
Rams rolling here right now. This time it's Demjanovic on the handoff. Hurdles a couple guys. He's going to find pay dirt. Derek Demjanovic for 6.
I'll tell you what, every time he's touched the ball tonight so far, it's been good for Central. He's got a couple of fumble recoveries, returned the kickoff initially, and right there, 4 touches, 4 good things for Central right there, as Demjanovic is in for the touchdown.
Thought he was down for sure, but a little hop step got him through the Cowboy defense.
Yeah, looked like a baby deer right there in the wild, hops over something that he saw, gets out of the way and into the end zone for Central, up early here in Lockwood.
The Cowboys jumping the extra point now. Lining up is Camden Capser, the recent Montana Grizzly commit.
That penalty will enforce half the distance.
You were telling me that Camden had a soccer game earlier today. How'd he do?
He had 2 goals, the game winner against Big Fork. The Rams won 3-1 to advance in the playoffs.
Well, there you go. This is his second deal today. Second big-time, big-pressure game. It's win or go home in the soccer playoffs right now in Montana. And tonight it's 2 versus 3. So, gosh, I hope Camden got a great night's sleep last night.
I saw him before the game. I said, hey, Cam, it's a long day for you and me. I'll see you tonight.
Well.
And the extra point is good there. It's 7-0 Billings Central. We'll be right back after this.
Up. If they're going to pass, he's going to be on at the left tackle spot.
And tonight, we'd like to thank Jersey Mike's Subs for providing the pregame meal for all of us here on the SWX crew. Jersey Mike's, always a sub above. USDA choice roast beefs and top rounds trimmed and cooked when you order, because that's the only way to ensure the tastiest sub. Freshly baked bread every day as well. Jersey Mike's, find them over in Shiloh Crossing and find out why they are a sub above.
A little bit of competition in the sandwich community here in Billings. I know Jersey Mike's been there a few times myself, but they did a nice job tonight. Thank you very much, guys.
Always like to point out, it's not just Bobby and I here. There's producers, directors, lots of guys on the camera standing out in the cold and in the rain right now, so we appreciate you feeding them. So here's Capser on the kickoff, and that'll be a touchback for him.
That's a big thing in the special teams deal. When you don't realize how lucky you are to have a kicker, whether it's of Camden's ability or not, until you don't have one. And it's really a nice thing to have a high level kicker. It's one more thing in high school football that you take for granted when you have it, and when you don't, it really hurts you. So Camden putting the ball out of the end zone forces Miles City to start at their own 20 instead of getting a return. So a little bit less hitting if you can put it away, as Camden Capser has a knack to do.
So under 3 minutes to go, Carson Hunter gets the Cowboys started on their 3rd drive of the day. Looking left, and that one will fall incomplete. First 2 drives for the Cowboys have ended in turnovers. So see if they can right the ship here. You know, Miles City's been running through their opponents so far. You know, you see those 44 points per game, just hanging it up on teams, but they haven't really played any of the top competition yet. They got Billings Central this week, Laurel next week. So we'll see how they stack up.
Well, and what you saw with Central getting the ball in good field position, their offense was a little frenetic. They'd have a good play and then a couple penalties and a bad play. Unfortunately for Miles City, they've had some good gains. They just keep shooting themselves in the foot. They have a little screen pass here for some good yardage.
Got Jaden Venable again with the yards after catch, taking them down to the 36-yard line.
And we talk about their quarterback, but he's got some options on offense. And Jaden Venable, boy, he's a vertical threat in this passing game for Miles City, as is Damian Leadhold. Both of those guys key to tonight's success for the Cowboys, and they do like to air it out.
Last week against Sydney, Venable with a career-high 251 yards receiving.
Yeah, they just kept throwing it up last week, and he couldn't help himself but to catch it. It's Hunter here.
Taken down in the backfield by Salo Gayton for the Rams.
Nice job by that young man, just scraping and reading the play, not getting in too big of a hurry.
That sends them back. Yeah, last week they were just throwing it all around the Miles City Cowboys. Leadhold also 5 catches, 122 yards, a career high, getting anything they wanted on a 41-28 win.
Well, they're averaging just about 300 yards a game, maybe a little more than that passing. And it's impressive in high school football, just given the weather that we have, if you can maintain that type of output. I mean, this young man does a great job reading the 4 verticals as it plays itself out.
Whitman looking to his right, and that will just fall down. Sorry, Hunter, but I saw Whitman moving out to the left there at the end, and it seemed to be a proper adjustment.
Yeah, the corners right there, they know what they're trying to do out of that 3 wide, and so they just sit Whitman out there, who we talked about athletically. He's probably not as accomplished a thrower as Hunter, but you're going to see him playing on both sides of the ball. His ability as an athlete to play all over the field and be a leader for this Central team is key to any success they're going to have tonight and moving forward.
So 3rd and 9 for the Cowboys. Trying to keep this drive alive. Hunter drops back in the pocket. He's under duress, trying to run for the first down, and he's down about a yard short, it looks like, at the 45.
So Central knows what they're trying to do with the 4 verticals, and they just kind of run this hybrid. You can almost call it a cover 3, but with some very cover 2-esque concepts to it, where they're just throwing Whitman down there in a hard cover 2 type set and throwing a couple of safeties over the top of it. So they've changed some things up, and you saw Whitman right there. He does have that ability to pull it down and make something out of nothing with his legs, if need be, bringing up 4th down and short for Custer, looking to move the chains again here.
Miles City looking like they're thinking about going for it, but here Jeff Regan takes a timeout.
Timeout.
As there you see,
Custer County.
we're going to take a quick timeout. We'll see 4th and 1 on the 44-yard line. The Cowboys will go for it when we return.
Jackets that are selling 50-50 tickets.
There are the Custer County Cowboys. They're facing a 4th and 1 on the 45-yard line. Jeff Regan talking with his team. Regan, a 1995 graduate of Miles City, played in the Badlands Bowl, played at Carroll College a little bit, and now he's in charge of the Cowboys since 2016.
Well, he's done a nice job. Last year, of course, they're coming off a state championship. They were well coached then, and they're well coached now all across the board. They've done a nice job with this program.
There's 4th and 1. Hunter dropping back in the pocket, looking on the wheel route down the side, and Junior Brackenridge is there to break it up.
They just did press man all across the board for Central, and Brackenridge on the other side. Athlete versus athlete wins that battle. Does a nice job with the offhand, knocking it down there, playing corner for the Rams.
So it's 47 seconds to go in the first quarter. Billings Central again starts with great field position.
Well, that's a quick turnaround. It's one of those things that if you're a Central fan right now, being able to capitalize on this turnover is huge for momentum for this football game.
As I said in the open, if you're a Central fan and you're watching tonight, well, you have a much better seat than all the people in umbrellas here. There, Brock Ping taken down quickly by Leadhold in the backfield.
Leadhold shooting through there, talked about him on both sides of the ball now, but he's done a nice job. And Miles City, he's listed as a DB, but right there, he's been in the box the entire night helping to defend this run game from Billings Central.
It seems like every handoff Leadholt's right there in the backfield doesn't get picked up unless, a running back makes a miss or something.
Well, this run game for Central isn't necessarily a push forward power game. They're getting angles and pushing people out and accounting for bodies. And one of those defensive bodies that isn't accounted for is one of your safeties.
Some movement up front, I believe. Probably a false start on Billings Central, pushes them back, and penalties have been an issue so far in the first quarter for them.
Yeah, a little bit of nerves. Both teams know what's at stake here. This is a big game, and you see that played out. Billings Central a little bit nervous the first couple of possessions, so they kind of broke through, and Damjanovic got into the end zone. But Custer County, has to make some adjustments as well.
And that will do it for the first quarter. Billings Central up 7-0 on the Miles City Cowboys, and they're facing 2nd and 20 when we return.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 23.
Well, and welcome back for the second quarter here from Lockwood. It was 2nd and 20 just now, and A.J. Ulrichs for Billings Central was wide open. Whitman threw it under, but the Cowboys got caught for a penalty.
Yeah, just running it deep, and he beat his man right there. And DB does a smart thing, give up 15, not 7.
Second down.
So even with the penalty, it's still 2nd down.
15-yard penalty, still 2nd down. But now Central can get back to their run game perhaps, and here's Whitman giving out to Damjanovic. He's got a hole just short of the first down.
So he's a little different runner. He's a little bit of a banger compared to Brock Ping, who's got some juice to him, but he's very effective running that sweep back up inside with that ball. It doesn't necessarily, you don't see him make a lot of guys miss, but he's got some powerful legs and hips once he gets going underneath those pads.
The last time I was calling a Billings Central game this season, how would you describe, the formations that they show you? I call it almost a hybrid wing tee.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. Like you said, they want to run the ball as you see here, but there's a lot of guys that too tight, guys in a wing or a hip. Not a lot of you can call it you're a hybrid wing tee. It's one of those offenses that's very similar to what Air Force has done. They did it with Fisher to Berry and now with Troy down there at Air Force. A lot of guys where they've got a lot of movement, undersized guys using angles to move people and make holes, not necessarily crush people at the line of scrimmage. So effective nonetheless.
Here it is again, just down the middle to Ping, but he's taken down quickly.
Yeah, he got a big gain earlier in the first quarter on that quick trap right there. Miles City shutting it down up inside. Host the Custer County Cowboys right there, meeting Mr. Ping at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Yeah, and I asked, about that wing tee. I actually, back in my days, I played in a wing tee.
Hold it, folks, the color guy was not the first guy to use back in my day.
Mine weren't as long ago, though. Sorry, Bobby.
Good call. Jesse Chipweski right there reads it out. And on second down here,
the Cowboys
bit of a wrestling match. And you saw the power that we were talking about with Damjanovic, as it took not one, but about 5 guys. First guy there kind of held him up, kept running his feet, and then a host of Cowboys wrestled him to the ground. Bring it up again. We were talking about this at break. How many second longs have we called tonight? And we're not even a quarter and a half into this one.
Got another one, 3rd and 15 for the Rams. Hey, they got a good wrestling program up there at Miles City.
Yeah, they're
just built a brand new facility.
Well, there's a lot of these Class A type towns, whether it's Sydney, Miles City, Glendive. Havre has a great wrestling program, and the standalone processes that it takes to have a winning program, they've committed to.
Little pitch to Ping on the side, doing the best he can, but he just picks up a couple. So 4th and long for the Rams.
Yeah, Ping setting him up, trying to make a couple of guys miss. Picks up pretty good yardage there on 4th down. But it'll be interesting here. We're going to bring in Capser for the long field goal try.
Bring up 4th down and 12 for the Rams.
Perhaps.
No,
they're
Whitman's coming back in.
Capser probably got a little excited there for a minute.
Well, he was making him consistently from 50 in pregame in the rain. But given the conditions right now, I can't say I blame Coach Stanton. And
looks like it'll be a timeout for Coach Stanton and Billings Central to think about it. 4th and 12 here.
They're first of the half.
Wonder if he's got a little birdie chirping in his ears. I got this one, Coach.
So we'll see if they go for it or if they bring out the kicking team back here on SWX. And coming up next Tuesday on SWX, we have high school volleyball from Bozeman when they host their rivals from just up the road, the Belgrade Panthers. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. from Bozeman for this Eastern AA match. Catch high school athletics all season long on SWX Montana, your home for local live sports. And it is Whitman coming back out here for the Rams on 4th and 12.
Well, the weather is going to play a factor of whether we like it or not. Fake grass, whatever. But Whitman's the guy you want with the ball in his hands. Going to give it a shot, probably throwing it
going
down the
deep
middle.
To LaFontaine. It's a jump ball, and LaFontaine comes down
Tips
with
it to himself. He tipped that ball to himself. Went up, contested catch. Just outlasted him a little bit. Looked like he was going up for a contested rebound right there.
You beat me to the cliche reference.
Yeah.
LaFontaine, another basketball player for
Reagan
the Rams.
LaFontaine. Whitman, little trouble with the snap, snags it, just throws it up to his big, tall receiver, number 8, tips it to himself, puts a guy on his back. That's the other quarterback in there on defense there. Comes down with the football. 4th and whatever, 1st down, 1st and goal, Billings Central.
Here Whitman gives it to Ping, looking for a spot.
Got a hole,
He's
got a chance, dives in there. What do you say, Central? 7 points, Brock Ping dives it in for another Central touchdown. That was well blocked off the left side. They had a couple guys kicking people out. They went with where they had numbers, ran it to the left side, pulled a guy or two, and Ping followed his blockers and then jumped in for 6 for Central, who's out to an early lead here in the first half in Lockwood.
Versus Damjanovic. Now it's Ping, and they've had a lot of success, as you said, when they're kicking those linemen outside.
Just trying to create a little bit of an angle and a little bit of a push, not trying to overpower them unless you're 77.
Here's Capser on the extra point. It's good. Nearly block. They had one blocked last week against Fergus.
Well, that's not the kicker's fault. But you see right here, it's going to run away from you a little bit. Ping's got it. Kicked out. Big Booth kicking a guy out there. Ping has the awareness to get 2 feet into the ground and then one body into the air. Touchdown, Billings Central.
They got down there with that crazy tip catch from Reagan LaFontaine. You know, I've seen that a lot with really good teams on those 4th downs. When they're in a position like that, they throw up one of those jump balls, knowing that the defender at this level most of the time isn't going to just knock it down. They're going to go for an interception. It's almost it's like a 50-50 punt.
Well, right there it worked out for Central in Central's favor. That's a great play by that young man. Really heady, bodied up both of the smaller defenders. He had Hunter on his back. And they both went to the ground, and the ball just, you never know how this thing is going to bounce. But if you can control the tip ball a little bit, you can kind of, somewhat, the folks that have caught a football in their life, you know that you can tip it to yourself a little bit. And right there, Reagan LaFontaine going up and giving this Billings Central Rams football team life it didn't have when he makes that 4th down play.
So 2-touchdown lead here with just under 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. And we had the game earlier this year between Billings Central and Laurel, and it's weird because a lot of people, I think, are still treating the Rams as underdogs this year, despite 4 state championships for Jim Stanton in the past 2 decades. And now against the defending champs, making another statement here in Lockwood.
Well, who won the football state championship before Miles City?
The Billings Central Rams.
That's what I thought. The last 2 state champs are on the field tonight. And, whether they're an underdog or not, it's a different season. And whereas you saw Miles City, they graduated 4 linemen off of last year's team that was a very good 50-50 team. Mm-hmm. They, ran the ball very well and could rely with Hunter when they needed to pass. But this Billings Central team they graduated 4 guys total, and so they were very junior driven, and this junior class got a little bit longer in the tooth. The seniors very thankful to have a football season this year, and they're showing how thankful they are early here, up 14-0.
A rare run for the Cowboys, and Cameron Brackenridge was all over it for Billings Central, the second leading tackler for the Rams.
Yeah, another Brackenridge. We talked about his older brother, but Cam in there early, not afraid of contact, got the hair sticking out of the back of his helmet and sticks his nose in there for a short gain on 1st down. Brings up 2nd and long for the Custer County Cowboys.
You talked about that junior class moving up. It was senior night here for Billings Central. 18 seniors on this roster. It was one of those ceremonies that seemed to just keep going on and on and on.
That's a good senior class. That's a good number at any level to have 18 seniors in your graduating class.
Hunter rolling to his left, looking for Venable, and he's got him for a 1st down.
Venable does a nice job giving himself some space and creating space within the route, then does a great job catching the ball. He's got great ball skills, and that's one of the big reasons we talked about the amount of yards he had last week, over 200 yards catching the ball. Right there, showing some good ball skills and awareness. Just moving the chains there for Custer. And I'm going to go back and forth. I love calling him Miles City, but properly we're supposed to call him Custer County. It's always going to be Miles City. Got a great fan base. That's a great high school sports town in Miles City, Montana.
It definitely is. I love getting up there as much as I can. It's hard with the 2-hour trip, but here on the run, they find some green space and down to the 39-yard line, Nate Gallo.
Well, I think that's Dalton Tvet right there. A couple of the guys we talked about, the linemen that they missed last year, they lost a couple of bangers in the backfield, and a lot of that slack's been picked up by Dalton Tvet this year. Being that, that one horse in the backfield that can get downhill quick, does a nice job there, bringing up 2nd and short.
I remember when I moved here 2 years ago, Chris Byers told me Miles City, great sports town, and I didn't quite understand it. But then once you keep going up there, you just see from rodeo, football, wrestling. I mean, the support there is unreal in some of the events they've hosted.
Oh, absolutely.
The last few decades.
We see
the
Hunter
fight
right there inside. And again, our guy, he's keyed into that. He stopped this play twice, Salo Gayton, right there to make the stop for Central. You can't say enough about towns like Miles City. Perfect sized town for sports to dominate the landscape up there. And it's important. High school sports in some way, shapes, and form, in bigger cities kind of loses its excitement. But still in Montana, Class A type football, whether it's Dillon, whether it's Miles City. There's a bunch of them all across the state. Hamilton, we can talk about some great sports town. Miles City takes a back seat to no one. They do a great job in that town, great support, and they had reason to celebrate, and I'm sure that they did in that town last year, bringing home a state championship.
Cowboys with the most state A football championships all time in Montana. Here, a little trouble. Hunter trying to make something out of nothing.
And he does.
Got it good for the first down to the 38-yard line. Ref says move the chains.
Little read option right there. A little slow for him to get up. Gonna watch here. A little watching in bated breath. Nice job by the ref right there, helping that young man up.
So he's hobbling a little bit. Took a hit with Booth and some other Rams.
Yeah, that's going to happen. You carry the ball as much, but on this fake grass, everything stays clean right there. And Carson Hunter's important to this. There's a couple of heavy sighs and a little bit of bated breath right there as he remained on the ground, but he hopped up. He's a Cowboy, dust himself off. He's up ready for the next go around. Got a Cowboy reference in.
There you go.
You got back in my day. I didn't give a letter buck yet, though.
The Cowboy there in Miles City right now is Haven Medjed, of course, in tie down. He's prepping for another NFR final there.
Offense, number 65.
False start for the Cowboys. Going to back him up 5 yards after the first down.
Well, I'll tell you what, the guy who's been on the mic almost as much as I have tonight is our referee. He's doing a great job. It's just these two teams are allowing him to talk way too much.
Yeah, not many 1st and 10s tonight. First 15, 2nd and 25.
Thanks for the dead mic error there, Spencer. I appreciate that.
It's all good. Leaving you out to dry once in a while.
Oh, it happens.
So 1st and 15 for Carson Hunter and the Cowboys. Looking to his left on the quick little screen. It's Venable. Going to go all the way across the field. At least he's trying to. Gets away from Booth. Switching all the way to the right side, and a lot of running for pickup of 3 yards.
Well, Venable right there trying to run that quick screen. They've got the 2 press corners on that side, or the 2 press DBs on that side, press corner on the backside. Venable's got to tuck that up at some point in time, but like you said, that's a lot of running for not a lot of reward.
And so 2nd down and 13, and you'll hear us, of course, talk about this pass offense a lot for Miles City, and for good reason. When we get our pregame notes from the Cowboys, and Hunter is the all-time leading passer in Eastern A Conference history in yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, and passer rating. He's 8th all-time in yards and 5th all-time in touchdown passes in the state of Montana as well. And I think what's impressive as he drops back to pass here, looking to go down the field. He's got it, man, it's Lead Holt, and he's down to the 39-yard line.
This kid reads out 4 verticals as well as any high school kid I've seen in this state. He does a great job of locating, and that's why their vertical passing game is so successful. Nice and calm. He drops back even further than he's supposed to. And even with the hybrid coverage that Central has, he finds himself enough time, and he's got the arm strength at 5'11" and maybe a shade or two more, a shade or two less. But he's got a gifted arm on his shoulder right there. He does a great job throwing the ball downfield.
And that was a perfect play to reference what I was going to bring up is his completion percentage this season, 69% so far, and we'll follow up a little bit more with that when we return on SWX.
At halftime for
Long half times. Yeah, Central did. Give Jaquan a breather. The black uniforms.
Not a big fan.
Welcome back to Lockwood High School, and there are some students here. They got their masks on. Of course, School District 2 doesn't allow students down the stretch or in the postseason, and the MHSA doesn't allow it, but Billings Central letting some in tonight.
Yeah, everybody masked up, socially distanced.
Maybe.
Well, maybe not. But looks like they've got some pods of people all around there, some making better efforts than others, and it is nice. This is a great facility, folks. If you're in the Billings area, just take a stroll out. The folks here in Lockwood Superintendent Navazio, they've done a nice job with this whole complex, building a high school and adding to the depth here in Class A in Montana.
Hunter on the design quarterback draw, still alive, and picks up 7 on the play.
Not afraid to run it inside. You saw him earlier get banged up. But right there, he just goes downhill. He's got a little jump cut that he likes to use, and very effective runner out of the backfield. Of course, you've already said tonight, he's their leading rusher. But they had to change things a little bit from that state championship team that they had, and a lot of weight just kind of fell on that young man's shoulders. And so far this year, he's done a nice job managing it.
216 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground coming into tonight for Carson Hunter. Here he is on 2nd and 3rd. Another design run for him, and that'll be good for a first down.
Yep, got the seal block there on the outside by, Dalton Tvet right there coming across the formation, sealing that, allowing Hunter to get to move the chains there, gets good yardage, and another first down for Miles City.
And yet another flag, though, after the play. We'll see who it's on. This is the real first productive drive for the Cowboys. Here's the ref with the call.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 13, 15-yard penalty. It will still be 1st and 10.
Jaden Venable getting a little chatty out there, got caught. It's going to be competitive, and the Central kids might be, it might be a private school, but they're not allowed. They're not afraid to chirp a little bit too. And right there, unfortunately for Miles City, Jaden Venable getting caught talking back.
So it's still 1st and 10, but from the 49-yard line for the Cowboys. 45. Hunter looking long. He's got a man open. It's picked off. No, dropped. It looked like Cameron Brackenridge in on the play.
Yeah,
couldn't haul it down.
Just dropping straight back, trying to get under that ball. Knows where that guy's going to be. Just can't hang on. Trying to float that ball a little bit, underthrown. Ball intended right there for Dalton Pileski. Just underthrown, and Cam Brackenridge, the younger Brackenridge, unable to hold on to that one.
Yeah, just a sophomore is Cam Brackenridge. He's really stepped up for that Ram defense this year, 2nd on the team, as we mentioned, in tackles.
Not afraid of contact at all. We've seen him come downhill a little bit, but that's an important role for a young man in a defense like this.
So we'll have another timeout here called for Miles City. A little confusion as they face 2nd and 10 on the 44-yard line.
Well, Miles City right now, this is pretty interesting because they've been able to have their own way in the games they've had so far this season. We've seen a lot of offense out of them, and tonight they just haven't had the consistency. Maybe it's because they're on the road. Maybe it's the weather. You can attribute any factor to it. But the key to being a good team is to be kind of overcome some of those small factors that cause distractions, that cause you to not be consistent in one of your strengths.
And I always think it's interesting a lot of time in high school football here in Montana. You see a lot of games that, they're just not really that close when teams face off because there's not always a ton of parity. I mean, for example, the Cowboys have allowed only 14 points per game, right, all year long, and here they're down 14-0 because you play a lot of teams that you're way better than, and then all of a sudden, well, here you are in a battle of unbeatens.
No, they know how big this game is. It could be some big game jitters. Like I said, there's another number of factors that you can play into this thing. The key to those championship level teams are you don't have to play at that highest level every night. You're going to have to overcome some of those things. And I think Coach Regan and his staff understand that. He said to me tonight, he's like, this is a completely different team than last year. We haven't, hung our hat on that championship at all, but we're still developing this team. He says tonight will be a great test for us. We're going to have to overcome some things. And he's exactly right. His Cowboys down 14-0 here.
Here's Hunter on the play action, going across the middle to Leadholt. Plows through the defender for a first down.
Leadholt right there catches the ball short of the chains to move the short of the line to gain. And he puts the same foot down, same shoulder into the body of the defender, able to fall forward to move the sticks here. That's one of those unsung sneaky yardage plays. A little play action to hold the linebackers, and he just pops this ball right over the top, and you're going to see him right here. Same foot, same arm, boom. Poor number 11 right there, Cade Boyd, started the downfall, but he got himself run over, but it's still an effective tackle.
This time the Cowboys going on the ground with Lead Holt picks up a few. And one of the few rushes we've seen so far.
Yeah, Coach Regan was saying, we don't have that, that one horse that's going to run the ball 100 times for us. We're going to have to mix it up. And so we've seen tonight a couple of different guys, whether it's Hunter, whether it's Lead Holt, whether it's Dalton Tvet, run the ball for him. So they've got to mix and mash their running game a little bit, and they've done it somewhat effectively. Starting to get it rolling here late in the second quarter is Miles City.
A long drive for the Cowboys, this time on a jet sweep. It's Venable taken down in the backfield from Salo Gayton.
Gayton right there again. He's done a nice job filling on the edge. Not the biggest guy, but he's not afraid of contact, sticks his nose in there, and it isn't necessarily the size of the dog in the fight or whatever the saying is. That dog right there doesn't back down from much, folks.
Hunter all alone in the backfield, 3rd and 3 on a big play here with under a minute to go in the first half for Custer County. Hunter dropping back, going towards the end zone. It's picked off by Thomas Hubbard. And here's Hubbard on the return, going up the left side. He's taken down, slammed down at the 12-yard line.
Yeah, Hubbard does a nice job. A lot of time back there and things kind of developed. He just threw it a little bit high over the middle, and that doesn't necessarily end up very well for an offensive system. See it sail on him just a little bit. Sees a guy coming open right there. Venables might have had a chance there, got a little push in the air, might have got away with something. Regardless, Thomas Hubbard goes up, makes an interception, nullifies another deep drive by Miles City, and capitalizes for a turnover for Central tonight. I think that's number 3 for him.
That's the 3rd turnover on the night. That's the 5th interception this season for Thomas Hubbard. First for the Rams, and they're happy to take a knee here with the 14-0 lead. There's Marcus Whitman letting the clock wind down for the Rams. This first half going just the way they like it. Miles City, however, 3 turnovers, been costly so far.
Yeah, you can't expect to overcome everything at once there. I think there's a little bit of a force of that last pass right there intended for Venable, but Miles City has that quick strike capability. Whether or not they can afford to overcome shooting themselves in the foot, we'll see come the second half here.
Lots to cheer for those Billings Central Rams fans. They're up 14-0. We'll be back to break it down some more at halftime on SWX.
I'll do 4 since you like volleyball.
I love volleyball.
Perfect.
I love volleyball on our I love calling volleyball, and it's a
And next year, give her a call.
Brenda and John, her siblings, Mary, Rachel, Tommy, Jacob, Sarah, and Luke. Heather Blumenthal in speech and drama. Dennis, 24-hour art challenge.
And tonight, we'd like to thank Jersey Mike's Subs for providing the pregame meal for our SWX crew. Jersey Mike's, always a sub above. USDA choice roast beefs, top rounds trimmed and cooked when you order. Because, hey, that's the only way to make sure you have the tastiest sub. Freshly baked bread every day as well. Jersey Mike's, find them in Shiloh Crossing.
You know, it's hard to believe we're almost at the end of the football season. But next week, don't miss out on one of the best matchups of the year in Eastern AA football between two blue-blooded programs. The Bozeman Hawks and the West High Golden Bears. Playoff seedings are on the line next Friday, 7 o'clock from Dallas for the season finale of high school football on SWX.
Yeah, the fall season is winding down, and we have one more volleyball game as well. It's a perfect way to finish off a great year of volleyball on SWX. Next Thursday, we are broadcasting live from the brand new Gallatin High School when the Raptors host their crosstown rivals, the Bozeman Hawks. You can catch our final volleyball production of the season when coverage begins at 7 o'clock on SWX Montana. And we have a good one right here, and we'll show you some of the first half highlights when we're back on SWX.
Yeah, she's awesome.
What do we got? What do we got?
The Hunter fumble.
No, that's just a draw.
That's where he fumbled in Demjanovic.
Oh, at the end, yeah. If we get there.
Yeah, Lori Kelly's unbelievable. She sees stuff, and she basically built that program at Rocky. She'd be a great one because she could do them all.
Mm-hmm.
Eli is a varsity tennis player. He has debated for 1 year. He's been in the
Here are your first half highlights, and it started off with Billings Central getting a lot of production on the ground.
Yeah, you see Brock Ping here finishing that run, puts a cowboy there on the ground. He'll bounce back up, don't worry. But that's a little bit of the explosive tendencies Brock Ping has. And you come back here, right here with Demjanovic, running it downhill, skips over one guy. And that's not the last time we're going to call his name. He gets into the end zone there, and then Whitman here throws it up. LaFontaine, bounce tip to me. First down.
That one
Goal
on
to go.
fourth down, yeah.
That one was a great one. And then Brock Ping again here finishes it off, gets a great kick out block right there by the big guy, hops into the end zone for another touchdown.
So in terms of Billings Central, that's how they scored. That's how they're up 14-0. However, Miles City kicking themselves in the foot a lot in the first half with 3 turnovers.
And then right here, you're going to see right before the half, the long throw picked off right down there in the goal line. There by Thomas Hubbard, who runs it back, then gets body slammed right there at the end. 2-point takedown for all your wrestling fans, as we mentioned earlier, just making you guys happy. And brings us to 14-0 as that Cowboy drive deep into Central Territory gets stopped and leaves them with a big goose egg right there on the scoreboard.
So the Cowboys in unfamiliar territory, down at halftime for the first time this season. They're 5-0, second in all of Class A. Billings Central again making a big statement, showing they belong with the Blue Bloods. They took down Laurel earlier this year, so we'll see what the Cowboys can come up with when we return.
I'll try not to be too bad. Hey, next week on SWX, if you're from Bozeman, you don't have to leave your house. We've got great high school volleyball from Bozeman High School when they host their new rivals from just up the road, the Belgrade Panthers. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. from Bozeman for this Eastern AA match. Catch high school's athletics all season long on SWX Montana, your home for local live sports.
And you know, in the NFL, sometimes those Thursday night matchups aren't always too much fun, but on SWX, we have some more high school football, this time from Missoula. Coulter Janacaro and the Big Sky Golden Eagles welcome the Kalispell Flathead Braves to MCPS Stadium for their final regular season matchup of the season. Coverage begins at 7 next Thursday on SWX. We have a full slate of local live sports for you this season, knowing you may not always be able to attend in person.
Yeah, this is a great deal. I was actually out golfing today with some guys that are big. It's a big football family here, the Lebsock family, and they were just commenting how it's not the best right now. You can't go to local live sports, and they were just so impressed with how local live sports, it's not always, the top tier, in-game highlights, wipes and all that. But you don't really need that to enjoy the game. And they're just thankful for this. So if the boys are watching, and for everybody watching at home, sorry you can't be here. There's nothing better on a Friday night than taking the family out and getting some popcorn and sitting in the rain and watching football. But tonight, it's not too bad. But at least we got some live local football going.
At least we got something. Yeah, last night we did a volleyball game. Zoe did with me from MSUB, and she gets so excited calling the game with me because she doesn't get to go to a high school game or get to play a game herself, and so she gets all fired up. But here, 2 minutes left in the half. Miles City Cowboys in unfamiliar territory, trailing by 2 touchdowns.
Well, we're going to see what they're made out of here in the second half. A little bit of test from the former state champs. And we're going to see that hopefully when we come back from this break right here on SWX.
Yeah, I think I'll be making a reel for Matt.
True.
That's how Connor works right there. The little kid who fell at the end going into that break. And we just want to say one last thank you to Jersey Mike's Subs for feeding our crew, all those guys operating the cameras, ladies running replay. I know we got Jessica out there, special shout out, but they're all standing in the rain and cold, and we're thankful for them feeding us. Always a sub above, freshly made sandwiches. You can find them in Shiloh Crossing.
Yeah, they do a nice job. And for the people at home to figure out how this thing goes off the ground, we've got multiple cameras. We got a big truck of people getting things off. It's really quite the coordinated effort out there, and for Jersey Mike's to make that happen for everybody, to feed them so we don't have a bunch of empty stomach folks in the cold weather. Bless you guys for doing that, and thanks for the support.
And I saved mine for after. I got 2 right here next to me for whenever this one finishes.
The guy that has to sit down doing the whole thing grabs 2.
Hey, I'm 6'5", 230. I'm a big guy, and we're always running around here on SWX. I was covering soccer at 12,
Remember, we're doing
3.
a football game. This isn't a singles ad. 6'5", 230.
Hey, you brought it up. And I am in a relationship, I will say. So
again, now it just got deep and awkward. No, this Custer County team right here out there warming up. I'm sure that the adjustments that they made at halftime, Coach Jeff Regan, I'm sure he did them at a little higher decibel, probably getting some nerves out. And a lot of the stuff, we saw a lot of penalties in that first half, and neither one of these teams is used to that nerves for big games. So this prelude, this audition, as you might say, for the playoffs in Eastern A. They're only going to have a couple opportunities for big-type games. And I'll tell you what, tonight, these two teams, good football teams, but we've seen a lot of unforced errors and a lot of laundry on the field by the officials.
That we have, and we're just under a minute away from kickoff. Custer County, I mean, they got a nice win streak going on with their perfect season a year ago. 5 wins this year. That's in jeopardy right now. But Billings Central just so confident this season, really kind of springboarding off that win from Laurel earlier in the year. I think that got guys like Whitman and Brackenridge that actually kind of boost the confidence.
Yeah, they've had a big game, and they've won on the road. That's a tough thing to do, even though Laurel's not that far away, hostile territory. And don't kid yourself, the lack of a crowd, no matter where you're at, you're seeing it on Saturdays, you're seeing it on Sundays. That has an effect on road teams in a positive way. Tonight for Custer, they just look a little bit out of sorts, and hopefully they could tidy some of that stuff out at halftime, because you saw glimpses of what we were promised in the lead up to this in great offensive play. We just haven't seen, consistency on either side, really. It's just, Central's been able to capitalize on some of the mistakes, and Miles City, those unforced errors have really cost them.
And they'll get a good chance to right the ship here, getting the ball first in the second half. Cowboys 31 offensive touchdowns on 216 total plays, and I won't be surprised if they get it rolling here.
Well, they probably aren't going to get an opportunity to return this one, as Camden Capser has it. I was watching him kick off from the 50 at the beginning of the game, and there's not necessarily a lot of wind, but whatever little breeze we've got is coming in from that side, and he was putting him out of the back of the end zone in pregame today.
As we mentioned earlier, Capser committed to the Grizz as he's struggling just to keep the ball on the tee right now.
Yeah, he's had a long day. He didn't have to wear the mouthpiece at soccer today, but he's got a lot of green going in support of his high school. They're just wanting him to put one of those green Hulk feet to this ball tonight and get it out of the back of the end zone and get this thing started off on the 20 for Miles City.
So here is Capser, and
nope,
that one will fall short. Venable set to return at around his own 4-yard line. He's got some space along the right side. There's some flag, though, back there. It's coming back.
Yeah, Venable's long way to go to get out to the 20.
And that penalty most likely going against the Cowboys.
Yeah, ref showed he had a little bit of an arm getting that one in.
He's been working it out a lot tonight. Lots of yellow in the first half, and not what you want to see if you're Carson Hunter starting deep in your own territory.
Yeah, they've had a couple of long plays from line of scrimmage this year, but tonight they've had a lot of trouble starting and keeping it going throughout the entire drive.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, 3 turnovers, 2 of them Carson Hunter fumbles. One of them was just a bad snap that he wasn't expecting, so hard to pin it on him, although you will see it that way in the stat sheet. But here he is getting it started on his own 6-yard line, and they just hand it off. A little bit of space on the left side. He's taken down at the 10-yard line is Tevet.
Tevet does a nice job getting stopped initially and then having the wherewithal to bounce it outside to the left and get downfield. Wide receiver lost his block right there. Was hoping he'd be up the middle instead of the outside, but good job with Tevet making something out of nothing there.
Tevet, the second leading rusher on this Cowboys roster, behind Hunter, 150 yards coming to this one, 2 touchdowns, a team that doesn't hand it off a lot.
Give some credit to this defense, though. They're forcing Miles City out of their comfort zone and doing some different things in the secondary.
There's Hunter looking on the right side. It's picked off by Demjanovic. He read it. He's got his corner. Beats Hunter. That's a pick 6.
Well, they did a little fake on the screen right there, and Demjanovic, wearing that black 44, wasn't seen at all, snuck in there, and he hit him right between the 4s. And Demjanovic tonight, that's his 3rd turnover. He's got 2 fumbles, forced one of them, and then right there, he catches it no problem.
And
he's got 2 scores.
That's
his 2nd score for the night. He's kind of the silent killer tonight where, he hasn't had the ball. We haven't called his number a lot, but every time he's been around the ball, it's been important, and he's done great things with it. So great night tonight being effective with Derek Demjanovic.
Big play there. Hunter thought he had Leadholt down the middle. I thought he did too for a minute.
He had him right over the top. If he put a little air under that, he's going to see him running free there. Instead of putting that ball on a rope, he had to dump it over the top. And unfortunately right there, Derek Damjanovic,
Just
he
a
couldn't help
magnet
but catch
for the
it.
ball.
Couldn't help but catch it. He right spot, right time. Second touchdown, third turnover. Great night for that young man.
Backed up a little bit. Camden Capser, that extra point is good. So it's 21-0 Billings Central, and here it is, the interception from Damjanovic's third turnover.
And you see
of
the
the
fake
night.
screen. It's a quick fake screen. He looks at it, puts it on a rope, but you see right there, Leadholt's wide open. You just got to put a little air under it.
He takes it all the way back for 6. Rams up 21-0. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here on SWX. Get about 4 words. So here we are, the Billings Central Rams with a pick 6 thanks to Derek Damjanovic, the complete opposite of what the Cowboys were hoping to do in that opening drive of the second half.
Exactly opposite of what they needed to do. Establish, a little confidence in their offense, and instead find themselves down even further.
And another low line drive kick, going to give Venable a chance on the return. He has some space up to the 40-yard line, now to the 50 before he's eventually taken down by Vince Dichos.
There's the spark they might have needed right there. Venables gets out on the edge, catches that thing. Low liner by the kicker, sets up a nice return. Didn't necessarily give his coverage the best chance to get down there, but there's a little speed on that central side, and he was chased down there by number 5, Vince Dichos. So Vince chasing him down from behind there, shows a little bit of juice and gets the angle, but Venable with a nice return out past the 50 for Custer County.
So here they'll start with prime field position, quarterback draw for Carson Hunter up the right side. He's taken down after a gain of 2.
Yeah, Junior Brackenridge right there throws him out of bounds. Might have had a little extra past the white there on the out of bounds there.
So the penalty will help out Miles City.
Hunter just trying to get those jitters out. Just doesn't look settled tonight for some reason.
Yeah, 3 interceptions all year long for Carson Hunter, and he has 2 here tonight.
15-yard penalty and a first down.
He struggled, and one of the things I was going to bring up was with that completion percentage, he's throwing for about 13 yards every time he does throw the ball, but Billings Central's been keying in and forced 3 turnovers tonight.
Tonight they've done some different things coverage-wise. They're not playing a traditional coverage that he sees every week. They're pressing different guys, and even on the backside, Brackenridge right there, who made the tackle, does a little bit of pressing on his own.
But this drive moving quickly inside the 30-yard line now after the big return by Venable, and they go quick out to Leadholt. Damjanovic brings him down at the 18.
Right there, just a little pitch and catch on the end. Leadholt, very effective runner when he's got the ball in his hands. And that was simple. He's uncovered right there. They got the slot guy pressed. This Custer County offense, not necessarily, they were pressing that first play there. They forced the interception. And right there, a little bit slower pace. And that's one of the things, that Coach Regan was talking about, how he can see the field because it's slowed down a little bit. It seems like this Billings Central team has sped it up for him tonight.
Hunter looking for an edge. Cameron Brackenridge in the backfield and takes him down by the ankles.
Well, a couple kids' names that have played well on defense tonight. Damjanovic that's returned one for a touchdown. And then Cam Brackenridge right there to clean it up, where you see Brackenridge right there with the tackle. We talked about him being the second leading tackle. But Damjanovic right there holding the edge, containing the quarterback. And you can make one miss, but if they're in pursuit, and this team's been pursuing well all night on defense, Central has, right there to finish it up and bring it up 3rd and long here for Custer.
This has been trouble for the Cowboys here. Hunter Looking down the seams, can't find his man. Was trying to find Pileski.
Had his guy. It was a good throw. You got to come down with that. Your offense is struggling a little bit. You're going to be expected to make the tough play. He was open on the slant. Not necessarily, it's a hard angle for us to see exactly where that ball was placed, but it looked good from here. Got to make those plays. Those are the type of plays you're going to need in a tough, hostile environment. Although limited in fans, still not the friendly environment you're used to if you're Custer County.
So here we go. We got the bells ringing, bleachers stopping. It's 4th and 6 for the Cowboys, trailing by 3 touchdowns. Huge play coming up here for them.
Yeah, they need this one. A little momentum. More importantly, they need this one for some confidence.
Tavette back there with Hunter. He's got 3 receivers out left. He's looking to his right, though, in the end zone. It'll be a jump ball, and it sails over. Turnover on downs.
Yeah, he had a couple of guys on the trip side running a couple of slants. He had double slants by the inside guys, had him wide open. Kind of made his mind up right there to go with the one-on-one matchup on the outside to his right. Just not seeing it tonight. Things not firing on all cylinders.
Junior Brackenridge was there in cover, and I think it's interesting when we look at the stats, I'd say, of this game. Cowboys definitely have, I would say, more yards of offense. They've been getting it down the field, but they haven't been able to score. You have those 4 turnovers, and those stats wouldn't really tell the story of this one.
It's tough to win football games when you lose the turnover battle by more than 1. When you lose 4 turnovers, 3 turnovers, 2 turnovers more than the other team, that's a pretty good indicator on how it's going. Not a lot of teams can overcome that kind of deficit.
Marcus Whitman going to give it to Brock Ping along the edge. Cuts up field. Guy lost space, and he's down at the 35-yard line.
Oh, there was a lot more field for him to get right there. He's got a little juice, Mr. Ping does. Hurdles a guy, gets the edge right there. Miles City lost contain early on that. Ping had a lot of room. Jumped over a dude, just couldn't keep his balance. Otherwise, we might be firing up the band one more time.
Really a win-win transfer for Ping going to Billings Central for the Rams. They already had Demjanovic back there, Hayden. They added Brock Ping. Of course, we've seen Billings Senior this year. Their backfield has been destroying defenses all season as well. Marcus Whitman out to his left to Junior Brackenridge on the quick hit. Brackenridge almost broke it, but it'll be 2nd and 4.
Well, just a quick hitter right there just to keep the defense honest. One of the things that Coach Stanton was very pleased with this team was the ability for Marcus Whitman to throw the ball. That's a nice touch when you're a first-year starter as a junior, as he was last year. You saw him grow as the season went on. He played in some big games, but he really grew as a passer this year, and it's really complemented the entire offensive package for these Billings Central Rams.
Shows what they really built at Billings Central. Everyone calling it a down year, but their losses were to, Custer County, Laurel, really good teams in Eastern A. Here's Demjanovic on the little swing route. He's good for a 1st down.
Yeah, just a little swing route out of the backfield for him. Gets a little extended. Little different, 1-2 punch in the backfield for this Central team. Got a little bit of versatility there as you see Brock Ping jogging back on the field. Little different way to do it, but it's effective nonetheless for Central.
It will be 3rd and short. They like Demjanovic on those swing routes. He's got 38 catches out of the backfield for the Rams. I'm sure we'll probably see another one of those runs from Ping here coming up. Just going to be a quarterback keeper as Whitman sneaks on forward for the 1st down,
Just
and then a little bit
rolling.
more. Keeping his feet pumping was Marcus Whitman.
Well, they don't have a ton of guys with size at Billings Central, but they've got one guy with a lot of size, and Marcus Whitman knows where that guy is at, and he himself is powerfully built as well. He's got some jets there and some wheels, and as your senior leader as a quarterback, he knows where the soft spots in the defense are, and he's able to pick up the 1st down there.
Not easy to keep track of where that big man is, Jaquan Booth. We've seen him at almost every position for the O-line.
Yeah, he moves around, plays that strong guard spot, and they'll move him to the left side to protect the blind side of the quarterback in pass plays.
Whitman going out to Brackenridge, trying to find some space, gets a block from Demjanovic, and he's down just 2 yards short. A big block from Derek Demjanovic.
Demjanovic seals that guy right there, springs Brackenridge, and Brackenridge not able to shake the next guy as Leadholt not necessarily, blows him up, but still an effective tackle.
And a face mask against the Cowboys is going to give 15 more for the Rams.
So whatever he was short on the 1st down doesn't matter. They're going to get a 1st down out of a face mask from this Cowboy team.
Hey, we can't take anything for granted. We had 15-yard penalties setting up 2nd and 10 in the first half.
Well, 2nd and 10s, 3rd and 20. We had some different yardages that these teams had to kind of deal with here, but momentum seems to really be on this Billings Central team side right now.
Getting everything they want as they face 1st and down on the 29. Here's Whitman, quick to ping up the middle. Shot out of a cannon, finds the edge. No one's going to catch him, maybe. Yep, he's taken down by Jane Venable.
Venable does a great job getting an angle on him, but that's a quick hitter right there. You'll see a guy right there on the edge with Miles City, has the opportunity to close that gap. He's trying to keep contained and force it inside to his help. But Ping just so quick to hit that hole right there. There's a guy misses him, 2 guys miss. And thank goodness Venables there has an angle and rides him out of bounds.
He's one of those guys that coach doesn't have to get on him for hitting the hole hard. He just goes right at it wherever it's designed. And he's seen a lot of success.
Yeah, Ping is, he points his head one way and he gets going pretty quick that way in a hurry.
1st and goal for the Rams. Up 3 scores, looking for more. Whitman gives to Ping. Cuts it upfield. He's going to take it down just short.
That time the Cowboys did seal, contain right there, force him back up inside to some help. And Ping does a nice job finding guys with his same color on, rides those guys up the middle, right there at the 2-yard line.
And so a nice 4-minute drive the Rams are putting together after getting the turnover and downs on 4th down on their own 28. And they're just getting everything they want right now.
One of the few long sustained drives we had tonight. Everything else is turnover or big play. And right now, Central showing what their hallmark is, a nice long drive.
Ping this time sitting in a 3-point stance back there. And they go outside to Demjanovic, cuts it upfield, and he'll find the end zone once again. The 3rd score of the night for Mr. Derek Demjanovic.
Tripped over the end line right there. Don't know exactly what happened there. But Demjanovic finding a way to make a big play all night tonight for these Central High Rams.
Tell you what, it's fun being number 44 tonight. You let Brock Ping just run it down the field, and then you get the 6 points at the end of it.
And he's just following his blocker. His blocker didn't even have to lay a hand on anybody. See big number 50, Connor O'Neill, leading him out in the air for the kick-out block. He just waits for Connor to break down, and he cuts off of his rear end. Finds some gray there in the end zone for another score for Central.
And the extra point once again good. I can't believe it's 28-0 Billings Central Rams up on Miles City. Carson Hunter and the Cowboys need to respond when we're back here on SWX. Custer County. Yeah. Well, and welcome back. And there are the Cowboys and Mr. Venable. Just nothing going right for them so far. Finding themselves down 28 to Billings Central.
We were just talking off the air, and it really feels like Billings Central's, they've had a lot of things come to them, and they've done the most with all the opportunities provided, mostly by Custer County shooting themselves in the foot. They've capitalized on big plays. They've made big plays on 4th down, on 1st down. They've capitalized on some turnovers. In Custer County right now, kind of their own worst enemy. Got to have something happen good for them in a hurry to get this thing going their way.
Last time they had a little momentum. Here's a short kick from Camden Capsler, but it's going to roll out of bounds. A little bit of almost an onside there.
Yep, and the referees showing that they're still warm, tossing some good long flags in there, showing everybody that this is going to be a illegal procedure, kick out of bounds. think we'll get the ball at the 35, I believe.
So Capser didn't reach the end zone actually on those last 2 kicks. Venable had a big return last time, and they're going across the field. And that'll give Miles City, again, nice field position. And they've had that mostly all night.
+5, you know, Miles City's, Billings Central's had some good field position. Miles City has kind of been hit or miss. They've had to take the ball a couple, some long distances, and right here, they've got good field position. The question is, what are they going to do with it?
So here is Carson Hunter sending Venable out wide to his left. He's going to look that way. Venable then cuts upfield. Hunter is just going to tuck it and run, trying to beat Cameron Brackenridge. He does on the edge, lowers his shoulder and picks up, looks like a first down.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Cam Brackenridge cleaning things up right there. We got more flags on the field, it looks like.
Illegal block in the back. Offense
Be a block in the back. Again, Cowboys shooting themselves in the foot, and that 10-yard gain is no more.
Yeah, denying themselves some big plays right there. That young man hasn't helped himself out either. He's kind of, you know, we haven't seen him get comfortable. And like I said, this is a little different coverage that he's used to seeing. He's seen a little more press. The guys behind it are still doing the same things. It's how they're getting to it, and it's caused a little confusion at the line of scrimmage for this Miles City team.
1st and 12 for the Cowboys. The handoff is to Tevet up the middle, and he's taken down by Booth, Brackenridge, a whole committee of Rams.
Yeah, right there.
And gained as well.
Booth's a hard guy to move. You're not going to get a lot of stuff straightforward trying to push him backwards. 4-year starter right there for the Rams. Been there for a while, been an all-state guy, been an all-conference guy. He's played his way, you know, on that offensive and defensive line. He's been on every position right there, and there's a guy, we talk about experience. He started as a freshman and has worked his weight down a little bit, and he's been a 4-quarter, 2-way player for this Central team.
Yeah, he'll have the record for most started games at Billings Central when he's all said and done. Here's Hunter, again under duress and taken down again by multiple Rams. Brackenridge, their first.
This Central secondary has done a nice job of making Mr. Hunter hold on to the ball. He's not necessarily used to seeing this many black jerseys or wrong colored jerseys, opponent's jerseys, in the area where he expects his guy to come free, and it's just that little bit of hesitation that allows that pressure from the front 4 or 5 that Central brings that causes this offense to really not move like we're used to seeing it go.
A lot of athletes there in the back for the Rams. Thomas Hubbard, Michael Hayden, Marcus Whitman Jr., Brackenridge getting it done so far. So here a quick out, thinking about the double pass. He gets it off, just barely incomplete. So it'll be 4th down for Custer County trying the trick play.
Well, that little double pass right there, quick pitch out to Dalton Pileski, and I'll tell you what, he takes a hit, a nice hit by, and this is a great name, folks, number 20, Clay Oven for Central High, right there to make sure that Pileski doesn't forget that you're supposed to catch the ball and then run with it, don't throw it. Clay Oven delivers a nice hit on the release, forces a punt here by Custer County.
Yeah, Oven all over that one, and those are those plays we were talking about. Custer County shooting themselves in the foot, but Central making the big plays at the right time. Cowboys just had to get that one off, and it'll be out of bounds at about the 40-yard line for the Rams.
Oh, we got a late flag here. This thing is getting a little
chippy,
a little testy, a little chippy.
And if that's on the Rams for some extracurricular action, it could be a key first down that the Cowboys need.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Receiving team, number 6. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that's his second one of the night. That's 30 yards in penalties for the older Brackenridge. Not the example you want to set for the number of brothers you've got on this team.
Makes up for it with some of those key plays, I guess, but that'll push them back instead of being at the 40. Looking like they'll be inside their own 30, still up 4 touchdowns. The Rams, last time we saw a lot of good things on offense, putting together their first real drive of the game, lasting 4 minutes.
Yeah, that was really the one of the first sustained drives I can recall by the Rams of some length. Everything that they've had has been middle of the field, where they've capitalized on a turnover or some mishap by the Custer County Cowboys. They turned it over on downs one time, I remember, but kudos to Central on taking advantage of those. It's not up to them to do anything but play their own game, and tonight they've had the ball bounce their way a number of times.
So Whitman here getting the drive started with a give to Demjanovic along the left side. He plows forward for a gain of 6.
Couple of pullers out there in front of Demjanovic, and he does a nice job following his blocks. There's big Jaquan Booth helping him back to the huddle too, leading the way, plowing some people out of his way so he can get back to the huddle, as he did there on the play. And Demjanovic, he's done some great things tonight. Didn't get a lot of touches, but he's been super effective when he's had the opportunity. Number of turnovers, number of touches, doesn't matter. Good things happen when number 44, Double D, Derek Demjanovic, gets the ball in his hands.
And the Rams offensive line set here, 2nd and 4 to gain for Marcus Whitman. He's going to give again to Brock Ping. A lot of plays on the ground right now. Again, sending a couple of those big guys forward. And it looks like they're good to move the chains. And we talked about that. You preview and you hone in on those key players, all those skilled guys. But like it was in their big win against Laurel, the Rams getting it done in the trenches, and that's been the difference so far as well.
Yeah, when they pull their linemen right there, Connor O'Neill's been out in front of a lot of plays tonight, done a nice job clearing some space for those running backs. And, it doesn't matter where you're at. One of the big keys in any football game is how things are going to go for you in the trenches and how you can dictate or install your will on folks down there where everybody has to bang heads and move people out of the way. Right here, nonetheless, Brock Ping, quick hitter up the middle. And again, that's war in the trenches, just a quick hitter right down the middle. And Ping, you see him get through there so darn fast, moves the chains again for Central.
He's really a perfect fit, as you see it again. Some of the action they have in the backfield that really confuses those linebackers for the Cowboys.
Yeah, just a quick pause. All it causes is them to just kind of freeze for just a sec. Brock Ping isn't frozen. He's coming at you full speed. You just don't know which guy's got the ball, and you're sitting there flat-footed, and next thing you know, he's running by you or on top of you.
Jim Stanton, 4 state championships at Central. This is his 20th year, 162 and 39 all-time. Here, Whitman design run to the left side, little delayed. He'll pick up maybe just a yard.
And the Stanton name's, very well known in Miles City. That's a legacy family right there, very football first family. There's a Stanton brother everywhere you go in the state, and his late brother used to be the head football coach at Miles City and still very important to that program. So Jim Stanton, he's made his mark here at Billings Central and the success he's had over his 20 years. But there's a lot of Stantons in football, and they've all had great success wherever they've got. I don't know if he's older, his other brother, Pete, over at Dickinson State, doing a great job in that conference. He's a new head football coach for taking over for a legend there and has made his own mark there. So the Stanton family having good success in this game.
Here's Demjanovic again with space, picks up a couple blocks from his receivers. He's still going up the side, showing a little. He says, hey, you think I just run it downhill? There's a little bit of moves for you.
And, well, it's not a traditional set of make you miss moves Barry Sanders style from my era, but it's a little, it might be X button on a different thing than an Xbox, but it's effective as you see him right there tying his shoes. But right now, shoes tied or untied, makes a guy miss, hops over one guy, stiff arms, gives that guy a little bit of a hop and an ankle drag, stops at the sideline, gives a little bit of an urge, gets a couple more yards, spins out of bounds.
I like the way you described it earlier, the deer hop. The deer hop for Demjanovic.
He's used it 3 or 4 times tonight. That's in his quiver of moves that he can use.
Quick run again for Brock Ping, plowing his way forward for a short gain.
This 1-2 punch that Central has, it's not necessarily the traditional body types or way you get it done, but they've been really, really effective tonight.
And they'll be happy to just end the third quarter in that way. Still up 4 touchdowns, looking for more now inside the red zone behind that dual threat attack, as you said, of Brock Ping and Derek Demjanovic. Cowboys uphill battle in the 4th when we return. It's the fourth quarter, and it is 3rd and 1 for the Billings Central Rams on the 9-yard line, looking to cap this one off with another touchdown. And it's going to be a throw to Junior Brackenridge. He needs to make something happen. He does, and a little bit more. Falling into the end zone is Junior Brackenridge.
Brackenridge catch a little swing screen right there, makes a guy miss, shows some nimbleness. A little more traditional make you miss there, as Brackenridge runs with some spirit and some mean intentions, makes that guy miss. Sees a couple of guys coming down, spins out of that tackle and in to further the lead here over the Miles City Cowboys. Central right now 34-0, pending extra point here.
And what a play call. I mean, I think everyone in the building, including myself, was expecting another handoff to Brock Ping. Instead, they go out wide to Brackenridge, and just like that, 35-0.
Well, it's just one more feather in Jim Stanton's hat. He talked about, you know, the different things they could do this year just because of the growth of not only their quarterback, but some of those juniors, now seniors, like, and I'm going to do this little bit of play on words, that juniors grew to be seniors, and now Junior Brackenridge is a senior. And you saw him. He's had a couple of penalties here and there, able to bounce back, and the belief that his quarterback has in him. He's a tough kid, loves the game, and right there you saw him finish in the end zone for Central.
Central now doesn't go through the air very much, but when they do, it's often to Junior Brackenridge, now up to 30 catches on this season. And yeah, he said another feather in Jim Stanton's cap. It's been a good year for the Stantons. All the brothers undefeated so far this fall. Over at Dickinson State, they're 5-0. Billings West rolling undefeated. The Rams looking better than ever right now as well.
Yeah, they're not playing. The Dickinson State usually comes into the Frontier and plays a couple of teams that are undefeated for a reason because they haven't ventured into Montana at Dickinson State. But the other Stantons here in Billings, they got some top-tier programs here in the state of Montana, built some programs, and you know they've done a great job wherever they've been. And like you say, haven't had a loss in the family this year.
Showing your Rocky roots there, Mr. Beers. That's here just Tevet, ball up and high, takes it down to the 35-yard line, as we haven't seen Capser going for the end zone here in the second half.
Well, he hasn't had to, and I think that you know, Central here still showing that they've got a little chip on the shoulder. They knew what was at stake coming into this game. They hear some people saying some different things. You know, this is as big as Billings is in the state of Montana, and there's a little bit of a small town mentality when you hear whispers and things. You know, when you're in town here playing football. So it's a small community within a big city for Montana.
Yeah, Central sitting in 3rd in Class A. Hamilton at the top. They have 2-3 games on everyone, 3 games on Billings Central. Here on the ground, down for a gain of about 5 is Leadholt.
Leadholt, nice job there. Didn't have anything to the outside, cuts it back up the middle. Still running hard. He's had a nice game on both sides of the ball. Had some good defensive success early. And then his offensive prowess is, you know, he's a multifaceted player, does it out of the backfield, and he'll line up in the slot for this Cowboy offense.
So Cowboys still yet to score in this one. Very unfamiliar for them. Leaning a lot on Carson Hunter all year long, and the Rams have just been giving him fits.
Yeah, Hunter struggled a little bit tonight. Gonna rely here on his arm. Throwing it deep, has a guy right there.
Hayden Klein hauling it down.
Running all by himself down there, hauls it in. Great play, and you just saw the arm strength of Hunter. Just a glimpse, something that they've been doing all season. Hadn't had success, but right there, Hunter connecting with Klein for a big play for this Cowboy offense.
I gotta say, I think that was one of the longest play actions I've ever seen. Hunter held that right, you see it right in the gut of Tevet for a long time.
Well, he read it all the way across the field and just unloaded. Klein just waiting for it. Get here, get here, get here. Great catch, first down, Cowboys.
Hunter on the design run, gets dragged down at about the 9-yard line.
You know, one of the things that Central's doing a great job of is, as we watch Clay Oven getting up there, is they're defeating that edge block at the line of scrimmage and being able to collapse down quickly on Hunter when he's trying to do that little quarterback delay zone power, if you want to call it that. Regardless, that edge player for Central is doing a nice job playing with his hands, shucking a guy aside, playing off that block and making a play, shutting that play down for Custer County.
This is the Cowboys' third time in the red zone tonight. Haven't seen any of those come to fruition, so here's Hunter bringing Venable in motion across. And he's going to roll it to his left, looking Venable's way, but he's in trouble. Cameron Brackenridge brings him down on the sack with help from his man Nate Sassage.
Boy, they like to roll out to their left. That time, Central just didn't look like anybody up front got blocked for Central. Just defeating blocks off the edge there, and there's 4 black jerseys, and Carson Hunter in trouble from the word go right there, and Cam Brackenridge flexing, showing everybody I've been in the weight room, folks. Helps me to get quarterback sacks when we play football.
You saw Slade Treadway there, the offensive lineman for the Cowboys, just kind of with his hands in the air, thinking this is not good for us. So here, 3rd and long for the Cowboys. Hunter drops back, looking to the left side. Junior Brackenridge in coverage, and he shuts that one down.
Yeah, good play right there. The one-on-one matchup. The one thing that Brackenridge does a great job of right there is just timing it. He had great position on where he was at. He knew the route that was being run. They do a lot of verticals there on the edge. He just kept his space, and then when the ball was in the air, he has a great feel for that. Makes a great play there. Brings up 4th down here again for Custer County.
And as you would say, 4th and a long haul. Their first down's basically a touchdown here. Call it 4th and goal. And Hunter just looking for a man, may have to tug it down, still buying some time, chucks it in the back corner, and it's a toss-up.
No,
and
it's incomplete.
Incomplete.
Did it out of bounds, and again, testing Brackenridge there on the corner. A little bit of a jump ball and lead hole, unable to come down with it.
Trying to catch it off the helmet of Brackenridge.
Little scissors action, and Hunter buying some time, just flips it up there. Brackenridge actually in better position, and both kids fighting for the ball right there. Out of bounds, ball finally hits the ground, so it's incomplete. Great call right there by the officials. Turnover on downs again for Custer County, and now we see another setup here for Central, 1st and 10.
Great effort there from Leadhill. Almost thought he brought it down over the top, but as you mentioned, another turnover on downs. The Rams defense still pitching a shutout. And they're looking for a gut-punching long drive here, getting it started on the ground again with Brock Ping.
Brock Ping, just a quick hitter right up in the middle right there. The clock right now is Central's friend. I don't know that, not a lot has happened positively for Custer County.
No.
On either side of the ball, they just haven't had things go their way tonight. It's one of those things you're going to have to learn. But as lopsided as this victory is going to be for Billings Central, there's a lot of things that you can take away if you're Custer County to where, on Saturday morning when you go in for film study, there's a lot of opportunity out there for this to be a heck of a football game. And, in a lot of situations, they'll learn a lot from it, especially coverage-wise, and come back to battle again another day.
Another quick hitter down the middle for the Rams. Saw King hobbling off, so see who got the carry. That time it was Michael Hayden.
Yeah, Hayden, another senior in there. He's no stranger to the backfield. Done a nice job over his career at Billings Central. Another steady set of hands in the backfield. Like you said, 18 seniors for this Central team. They had a big group when they won the state championship 2 years ago. Another set of seniors this year, looking to capitalize on some of that leadership. And
on 3rd and 5, they're going down the side of Reagan LaFontaine. He beat his man. No one's in front of him. He's going to take it all the way to the house. A back-breaking blow. 80 yards for the touchdown.
LaFontaine, that's a second big play on a long ball he's had. He tipped one to himself earlier. That tall drink of water has 2 big plays, 2 long plays, and Whitman right here slings it out. LaFontaine, I'll take it from here, folks. Just going to stride it in.
Not a bad average for him. 2 catches, about 150 yards on the night, and a touchdown for Mr. LaFontaine. And
well, I think you got caught a couple of DBs there for Miles City looking in the backfield, and LaFontaine strides right by him. Whitman delivers a great ball, hits him in stride. He had no choice but to catch that one or get a concussion. He chose catch it and run. We got 42-0 Central High Rams.
Just absolutely running away. There's under 5 minutes to go. We're back here on SWX.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
I don't, you know.
Welcome back to Lockwood Stadium, and the route is on for the Billings Central Rams, up 42-0 with just under 5 minutes to go in this ball game.
Well, we were talking over the break, and one of the things that you've seen tonight is some of the defensive adjustments that Central made. They didn't necessarily. You talked earlier about some of the weird things that they do on offense, you know, wing T stuff. Well, on defense, they did some different things coverage-wise, and I think it's forced a little bit of confusion and hesitation in their passing game. And they've had a lot of success, and their defense, I think, tonight has kind of led the way and allowed their offense to have that success.
Another short kick here, recovered, taken up and out of bounds at the 30-yard line before he's taken down by Nate Sasich. I mean, yeah, you look at the pregame notes, we're expecting this one to be close. You look at the total offense yards from Miles City, over 400 yards per game, 10 yards per play, just getting whatever they want, and credit to those black shirts back there pitching a shutout.
Yeah, they've done a nice job on really up front. They don't have the size that Miles City's had, but their active hands and speed on defense has allowed them to have success and cause Mr. Hunter back there not to get comfortable. And we've seen him kind of out of sorts all night.
So Miles City now maybe just looking for something to hang their hats on, but there you go. More trouble for him. Thrown down by Salo Gayton.
Gayton comes off the right side of this offensive line. I don't know if the right tackle got a hand on him, but he defeats the block at the point, and he is right back there when Carson Hunter gets set to go. I mean, he is right in his lap, and he's done a great job all night. Gayton works his hands very well, and then he has a little bit of juice behind him. He's got some good speed off the edge, forcing the sack and bringing up another long second down for Miles City.
Second sack of the season for Gayton, and they got a lot going up there with Cleveland Leader, the 6'1", 230 right now. He's at nose tackle. We've mentioned Booth. He's right now on the end, and Gayton on the left side. Here they're just going to give it down the middle.
That's Booth just coming down from that. He was playing 5 technique all the way out on the defensive right side. He saw everything going inside, and he just crushed everything down and made a play. Big pile right there for a little gain on second down.
So 3rd and 17 for Miles City. You get the impression they're just looking for something to build on right now. They've had some of those big plays. Can we just get something at the end of this game to look to in the film room? And right now, the Rams just covering it all up.
Well, they've got a lot of film tonight and some things to fix, and I don't think it's going to take a lot for them to make these adjustments. If they get seen again, they'll be ready for it. I think right now,
he's got a man open, is Hunter Venable, and a sloppy tackle. He's got more space before he's taken down in the middle of the field by Boyd.
And Venable is one of those offensive weapons that hasn't had a lot of opportunities tonight, but he's one of those weapons. He's going to be able to see this on film and be able to make the adjustments. As you see Hunter sitting right, well, there's the play a couple times ago. We saw the sack in the backfield there, but that last play, the long ball, Venable's really kind of been hobbled a little bit by this Central defense.
So now a minute and a half to go in the game. First down for Miles City, trailing by a lot. Hunter on the designed run, still has a lot of space. He's out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And we talk about some of those adjustments. Of course, maybe these two teams will meet later in the playoffs, but hey, the Laurel Locomotives, they're just a one-loss team, and Miles City now has to face them next weekend.
That's going to be a great game. Is that in Miles City?
Yes, sir.
Well, there's a home field advantage for these Cowboys. Make some adjustments, but they've got on film some defensive stuff that's worked here against them, but from Central. And Laurel's got some athletes. They played Laurel twice last year. That first game that we did here on SWX, that was a great game. But for another one next week between those two.
Setting up, and he's got the pass completed to Dalton Pileski.
Pileski's solid night tonight. Called his names a couple of times. Right there coming up with a clutch catch. That's a tough ball over the middle late. Just a little underneath route. Brings up 2nd and short here.
Pileski's 12th grab of the season. Yeah, the Cowboys were supposed to play Laurel in the first game of the year, but that one got canceled with the season delay. There's a little bright spot for the Cowboys. Little turf mott's gone to the Bulls. Knocked out somehow. It stays in bounds, and I think the Rams recovered it before it went out of bounds. And, I'm just going to guess that it's Derek Demjanovic down there.
Well, Aiden Klein got hit right down the seam. And then when he was going to he was stumbling, couldn't necessarily keep his balance.
We've said that everything has, kind of bounced their way, and never truer on that play. And the ref said, run the clock. And the Billings Central Rams take this one 42-0. That was Derek Demjanovic on the recovery. This is another turnover for him, the 5th overall for Billings Central.
Demjanovic made his impact felt again tonight, and you're going to see right there where Aiden Klein catches this ball. We got some guy coming up the middle untouched. Right here, stumbling a little bit. Great play right there by Cade Boyd, hustling after it. Demjanovic right there at the bottom of the pile. I don't know how they're going to call that. If it must be another turnover, but wherever the ball was on the ground, a forced turnover. Derek Demjanovic did a great job tonight being opportunistic and creating opportunities as well.
3 fumble recoveries, a pick 6, a touchdown on the ground as well. Lots to celebrate for those guys in black jerseys over there for Billings Central. We came in thinking, hey, this is going to be a close one. 5-0 versus 4-0, 2 versus 3 in the state, and the Rams with another big statement blowing out Custer County.
Well, Central tonight came to play and had really had everything go their way. So, you take advantage of it. That's what they're supposed to do, and they did it tonight in a big game with some consequences. They're now undefeated, sit in the driver's seat for the top seed in the Eastern A. 42-0. That speaks volumes to everybody that this team's getting better as they go.
An impressive feat for the Billings Central Rams. They'll go to Havre next weekend. As for Miles City, they have a tough test against Laurel. So for you, Mr. Beers, for myself, all the SWX crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time here on SWX.